Chapter 453 The Soul with a Different Color. What is it? Asked Mo Fan. It was Mo Fan's first time seeing the little loli wearing an expression like that. He could not help but feel worried. Ling Ling did not hear him. She was simply staring at Nidong's dark red soul, which was nothing like the usual green or blue souls Mo Fan had seen before. The eerie red seemed to have placed Ling Ling under a curse. She was wearing a twisted grin on her face. Mo Fan could not understand why a 10-year-old girl would suddenly wear such an expression. Perhaps he did not really understand the little loli to begin with. He never knew why she insisted on being a hunter at the Clearsky Hunter Agency instead of going to school like everyone did at her age. He did not understand how she earned the title, Hunter Master, when so many magicians found it extremely difficult to earn the same title, nor did he know why she was so mature and intelligent behind her cute, adorable appearance. Ling Ling remained silent. She did not budge when Mo Fan stored Nidong's soul inside his little loach pendant. She was deep in thought with her head lowered, and her expression kept on changing rapidly. What's going on? Is there something you can't tell me? Mo Fan placed his hand on Ling Ling's shoulder after he finished stashing away Nidong's soul. Ling Ling seemed to be recalling something. When she raised her young, yet mature face, Mo Fan captured a glimpse of hatred from her eyes. I've been looking for souls with a different color like this one, Ling Ling said to Mo Fan grimly. Is there anything special about the soul? Asked Mo Fan. My last partner disappeared because of a dark red soul like this one, said Ling Ling. Your last partner? Mo Fan could vaguely recall something, but he could not remember who mentioned it. Ling Ling fell silent again, so Mo Fan continued to ask, should I show you the soul again? It's fine. I already knew the guy is still hiding somewhere, and I now know the person I should look for to get more information, said Ling Ling. Mo Fan was confused. Since Ling Ling was not willing to share, he did not pursue it further. His only choice was to ask Old Bao about it later. Mo Fan had decided to investigate further. Ling Ling was his companion, and the little girl had helped him with many things. Most importantly, she was never interested in the rewards, thus he basically got most of the commission from the quests. Ling Ling was very keen on doing hunter's work. Initially, Mo Fan thought Ling Ling was doing it because of her interest in helping out with the family business, but it seemed like there were more reasons for it based on her strange reaction today. After settling the matter on hand, he would have to pay Old Bao a visit to learn the details. Mo Fan turned around and walked toward Zhao Manyan and Lu Ru. To Mo Fan's surprise, Lu Ru, who was previously covered in wounds and bruises, had already recovered on her own. Not a trace of scars was left on her body. Looking at her, Mo Fan intentionally wore a calm smile and said, a vampire can still be considered a human, so you shouldn't think too much about it. Lu Ru raised her head and glanced at Mo Fan. She could barely withdraw her fangs now. It was difficult to tell if she had accepted the truth that she had turned into a vampire, or she had totally lost hope to begin with. She wore a pitiful smile and said, being able to avenge my sister is enough. I don't really care what's going to happen to me. Even though I feel like telling you that your sister would prefer you to live a strong and peaceful life, you have made your own choice, and what's done can't be undone. You're no longer the same old you, so I hope you can continue to move forward. Mo Fan tried very hard to find some comforting words. As a matter of fact, any chicken soup for the soul kind of advice was utterly meaningless. He would never understand what she was going through, since he was not the one involved in the incident. The smile on Lu Ru's face blossomed, not because Mo Fan's words were resonating with the thoughts she had in mind, but as he had mentioned, she already knew the life she was going to live moving forward, a human life when she could no longer be called one. She rose to her feet and slowly walked toward the darkness into the distance, heading for the boundaries of the city. Mo Fan watched her go in silence. He did not ask her to stay, nor did he act like a saint and made a righteous declaration to warn her that he would still exterminate her when she lost her control. Lu Ru's figure slowly turned blurry as she ventured deep into the darkness. The dark yet endless road would give her enough time to figure out her new way of living. Mo Fan could not provide any assistance to her. Are you seriously letting her go, just like that? Zhao Manyan said with great pity. What else do you want me to do? Recruit her as a bed warmer? I'm more than happy to do it, said Mo Fan. True that, she was already reluctant to disturb your life when she was still a human, let alone now. Forget it, let her be. I only hope that she won't lose her inherent qualities to the greed for blood. Even if she cannot control the urge, she should just come to us instead. How could we ignore our call of destiny, said Zhao Manyan, which clearly implied that he knew the rumors stating that the blood tribe would always be doing something else when they were drinking their prey's blood. Mo Fan nodded, as he did agree with Zhao Manyan's statement. Either way, the incident had come to an end. As for the vampire family that Ni Dong had come from, it was beyond Mo Fan's control. The Hunter Union had already been alerted. They would surely conduct a thorough search in the city, and treat all the people who had died a strange death as possible prey of the vampires in the past. Therefore, the vampire family would most likely keep a low profile for a period of time. Mo Fan had gotten the fangs he needed, and helped Lu Ru take her revenge. It was basically the best ending he could hope for, and now it was time to hand over the fangs to Huo Tuo. Initially, Mo Fan was planning to challenge higher-ranked students after getting his equipment. He had already missed the second challenge week, thus he could only climb the rankings in the following month. He could sell the warrior-level soul essence to earn a huge sum of money, and combined with the money he had received from the previous commander-level corpse, he should have enough money to get himself a contracted beast. Getting a contracted beast was the best way to improve his strength significantly for the time being. With the contracted beast, he would be able to climb to a higher rank, and earn more time to cultivate in the three-step tower, which would then allow his lightning and shadow nebulas to improve further. The process of improving strength was like rolling a snowball. Once the snowball started rolling with a push, it would grow bigger the more distance it covered. What Mo Fan needed the most now was a contracted beast to give his cultivation that had come to a halt for a while a little push from the back. Chapter 454 Ling Ling's Secret. Tisk tisk tisk. I didn't expect you would actually get the fangs for me. The hunter masters I've hired before couldn't even find a vampire's hair. You have some real skills, I'll give you that, very impressive. Huo Tuo's eyes flickered when he saw the fangs Mo Fan was handing to him. Creatures like the vampires were quite rare. If Huo Tuo had not happened to stumble onto one who was bold enough to target a pair of twin sisters in a short period of time, Mo Fan would not have been able to find him even after searching the depths of the skies. No wonder Huo Tuo was willing to trade for 2 vampires' fangs instead of the usual expensive fares he charged. Mo Fan had no clue why Huo Tuo needed a vampire's fangs. He was only concerned about when he could get his hands on the new equipment, so he could challenge the students ranked in the top 30. Being placed in the top 30 would allow him to cultivate in the 3-step tower for 3 days and 3 nights. Since Mo Fan had 4 elements now, his rate of cultivation would be double that of an ordinary intermediate magician on the 3rd floor of the 3-step tower. He urgently needed to improve his lightning element to level 3, and he had spent a great deal of time meditating to prepare himself. All he needed now was a breakthrough with the help of the 3-step tower. So when can you give me my armor? I'm hoping to climb the ranking with it, Mo Fan said to the vampiric old man. The old man was extremely stubborn when no personal interest was involved, but when he received the fangs, he immediately wore a benevolent and kind countenance. Patience, young man. I'll deliver the armor you've been dreaming of into your hands by the next challenge week, said Huo Tuo with a smile. Mo Fan was finally at ease after the old man had given his promise. Mo Fan was not in a rush to sell the vampire's soul essence. The truth was, Zhao Manyan's family owned a rather reliable marketplace in the city. Zhao Manyan was more than willing to help him sell the treasure, yet Mo Fan thought it was necessary to hold on to the soul essence for a while longer after he recalled Ling Ling's reaction, and he learned what was special about the dark red color of the soul. Mo Fan could not reach Ling Ling for a few days, nor did he know what the girl was desperately looking for. His thoughts were totally preoccupied by the strange incident. Mo Fan paid a visit to the Clearsky Hunter Agency, as he wanted to ask Old Bao for more details. To his surprise, he saw a woman with outstanding curves in a sexy, leather outfit and an attractive, dignified look seated inside, emanating a cold aura. Senior Sister Leng Qing, it's a surprise to see you here, Mo Fan greeted Leng Qing in astonishment. They had not met since the incident at Hangzhou. It went without saying that the incident involving a corrupted councilman had resulted in lots of work cleaning the mess up. Leng Qing, who was a vice elder of the magic court, had a lot on her plate. Leng Qing glanced at Mo Fan and smiled faintly. It seemed she had a fairly good impression of Mo Fan. Just paying a visit, but I guess I'm out of luck, since no one is here. Leng Qing scanned the old building, which was a mix of a coffee shop and a tea house, as if each of the things placed and hung, and the sounds they made, were loaded with a lot of memories for her. Strange, where did everyone go? Even old Bao isn't here, Mo Fan wondered helplessly. What is it? It looks like something is bothering you? Leng Qing asked casually. Mo Fan glanced at Leng Qing, and remembered that this attractive, powerful vice elder of the magic court was Ling Ling's sister. Surely, she would know more than old Bao. Mo Fan quickly told her how he and Ling Ling had hunted the vampire down, and emphasized the strange red light that Nidong's soul was emitting. Leng Qing gave Mo Fan a surprised look with glittering eyes, before asking, "Are you sure that the soul has a dark red glow?" Mo Fan nodded. He could tell that there was something extremely important about it from Leng Qing's reaction, so he pursued the matter further. The truth was, Ling Ling was still very young. He could not help but worry when he recalled the slightly twisted expression on her face. Ling Ling told me it has something to do with her previous partner. Didn't her partner die? Mo Fan probed. Leng Qing let out a hollow laugh, with a hint of sorrow on her face. When Leng Qing did not answer his question, Mo Fan asked softly, "Is it something we shouldn't be discussing?" Leng Qing spoke after a moment of silence. "It's not any secret, it's just that the partner you mentioned. He's someone special to us, as he was our late father." Mo Fan's jaw dropped in bewilderment. He could tell that the person was extremely important to Ling Ling, yet he never thought the person was actually her father. Ling Ling has been extremely talented since a very young age. She has a great interest in the art of hunting, so my father brought her along when he was carrying out the non-dangerous quests, and taught her what it takes to be a great hunter. Ling Ling has been following him around since a very young age, so he was not only a father, but a teacher, a friend, and most importantly, a partner. This place used to be full of their laughter, and every time they were on a quest, Leng Qing would run around happily, telling everyone about it with her little canine teeth poking out from her grin. The father and daughter made a good team, and even on some difficult quests, Ling Ling was able to provide some useful clues to her experienced father. Leng Qing explained in a gloomy voice. Although Leng Qing had only vaguely described the relationship between Ling Ling and her father, Mo Fan immediately pictured the gentle scene of a patient hunter teaching his smart, energetic little princess. Ling Ling was surely an active little elf back in the days, dancing elegantly in the lively Clearski Hunter Agency. When Mo Fan first met her, she was already a hunter master. She had grown from an innocent little girl to an outstanding, fearless hunter, and it went without saying that her father had taught her a great deal, and looked after her with tender love and care. Ling Ling had only mentioned about her previous partner vaguely, at most. Maybe in her little heart, she had never accepted the fact that her father had passed away. "So what does the dark red soul have to do with your father's death?" asked Mo Fan. "It's most likely the only clue we have regarding the truth, as our father's soul was also dark red when he passed away, as if he was placed under a curse," said Leng Qing. "I've only seen green and blue souls before. It's true that I've never seen a dark red one before, which means it must be some special kind of death mark," inferred Mo Fan. Leng Qing nodded heavily. Chapter 455 Secret Tipping Scroll. But Ling Ling is still too young. I've been doing some investigations over the past few years, and I've discovered that those who could produce a special death mark like that were no ordinary creatures, to the extent that I didn't even dare to look into it further, as I begun to feel that something is threatening my life, said Leng Qing sternly. Mo Fan was astounded. Leng Qing was a vice-elder of the magic court, yet even she could not solve the case despite her power and strength. What exactly were the things that would produce these dark red souls? Judging from Leng Qing's words, he was clearly aware that Ling Ling's father was a very outstanding hunter. So about the investigations that Ling Ling is doing, she is so keen to hunt down demon beasts, and accept all kinds of quests, just to collect more information? Mo Fan asked. Indeed. My identity is rather special, so once I go any deeper, the factions hiding in the dark would start interfering. It's more effective for Ling Ling to find clues from incidents related to demon beasts. After all, when I'm involved, things become different. Anything that's related would be wiped clean, said Leng Qing. Mo Fan frowned. He could tell that the whole thing involved a huge secret. However, Mo Fan was only worried about Ling Ling's safety. If Leng Qing had mentioned that the factions hiding in the dark would interfere once they investigated too deeply into the matter, didn't that mean Ling Ling would eventually stumble into them? Ling Ling isn't as simple as you think she is, just let her be. Even if we tried to stop her, she would still do it. She's only investigating the dark red soul, so it's not too big of a deal, Leng Qing said calmly. Senior Sister Leng Qing, it sounds like you know something discreet, said Mo Fan. Would it make any difference? Doing anything before you're powerful enough would only get yourself killed, said Leng Qing. Leng Qing did not discuss the topic any further, but Mo Fan was already intrigued. Mo Fan proceeded to find out more information about Ling Ling's father, and to his great surprise, her father, Qin Zan, was a senior hunter. The only time Mo Fan had met a senior hunter was during the incident of the mother-scale skin phantom. He could never forget the astonishing sight of the giant blue beast stomping the stadium from above. The senior hunter was incredibly dignified, their presence accompanied by an imperious aura and epic background music. How terrifying was a quest that killed a senior hunter without leaving any trace? As Mo Fan tried to investigate further, he could no longer find anything useful. He was only an advanced hunter, thus the information he had access to was fairly limited. Mo Fan tried asking Professor Chu Yuha to see if he knew anything about the death mark. The dark red mark was very unique. If he could understand the reason behind the color change of one's soul, he might be able to find more useful clues. Unfortunately, even someone knowledgeable like Professor Chu Yuha was utterly clueless. He just raised his brows and asked curiously, since when can a soul be dark red? In the end, Mo Fan still could not find any useful information. Left with no choice, he decided to sell the warrior-level soul essence. There was no point in keeping it, since he was desperately in need of money to get himself a contracted beast. It was said that a contracted beast was a real money-burning commitment. The vampire's soul essence was sold at a fairly high price, 25 million RMB, a huge sum of money. Combined with the money he had earned from selling the Xuanwu giant lizard's corpse, he now had around 40 million RMB. Even though the best contracted beasts were priced at around 50 million RMB, Mo Fan had no time to wait any further. It was best to improve his strength as soon as possible. Mo Fan picked his lucky day. He always thought he had the plot armor and the temperament of a main protagonist. If the others were able to stumble upon dragon eggs, ancient phoenixes, or younglings of powerful beasts by only spending the money needed to buy a pigeon egg, his luck should not be any worse. Zhao Manyan, what is going on there? Why does it look like they are trading some kind of scrolls? Are you guys selling Star Atlas books? Asked Mo Fan. When Mo Fan arrived at the Zhao family's marketplace, he immediately discovered some fascinating stuff. The auction was very high class, yet there were not many people around. Most of the items had quickly gone over 10 million RMB, thus it was quite difficult for an auction like this to be crowded with people. However, Mo Fan saw that the hall at the back of the auction was relatively lively, with a huge crowd. Oh, those aren't magic scrolls, it's like a lottery, said Zhao Manyan. Jackpots? Are you kidding me? Those people are all magicians, exclaimed Mo Fan. Allow me to explain. Most of the quests listed at the Hunter Union have reliable sources of information, hence the person submitting the quest only needs to sign the contract and pay the commission, so that the hunters won't be wasting their time and effort. However, most people will find some clues and traces while they were hunting in the wild, which aren't necessarily reliable. Such information isn't valid enough to be submitted as a quest, so they will store this valuable, yet uncertain information in the scrolls, and sell them accordingly, explained Zhao Manyan. Are you serious? Do people actually buy them? Asked Mo Fan. It was most likely that the information was mere speculations or rumors. Most of the time, people would just share them around, but they were actually selling them like a lottery. Were these magicians running out of ideas on how to spend their money? Brother, we're now in the information age. Surviving alone is not enough for the hunters, it's all about getting reliable information and tips. You've seen it yourself, the people are lining up to buy them, said Zhao Manyan calmly as he glanced at the crowd at the back of the hall. It does sound like a lottery, now that you've mentioned it. If the tip is real, it would be a win, as they would save the money needed to get reliable information or post a quest. But if the information is fake, or outdated, it would be a waste of effort, said Mo Fan. Every magician has some money to spare, and everyone likes the idea of winning a lottery. Besides, these secret tipping scrolls aren't expensive at all. Many people would buy a few in a row, and even if the information wasn't exactly what they were looking for, just treat it as a chance to learn something. If you're lucky enough to buy 2 scrolls that have relevant information, it's very likely to be a piece of real information. Those who buy them as soon as possible usually have a higher chance of earning a profit. Which places are showing the presence of soul seed pieces or soul seeds? Where are the places that the rare demon beasts have been spotted a number of times? Which places have a strong elemental presence that is possibly hinting at the existence of some rare materials? Zhao Manyan went on. Chapter 456 Flame Bell. Many pieces of information are plain rumors, yet after filtering them out carefully, and selling the scrolls at a higher price, most of the magicians will try their best to put in some accurate details. After all, if most of the information they provide is fake, they can only sell their scrolls at a very cheap price. When it reaches a certain threshold, the marketplace will forbid them from being a tipper. The minimum requirement to become a tipper is the advanced hunter rank, while most of the tippers are hunter masters. There are quite a few senior hunters, too, said Zhao Manyan. Mo Fan had definitely learned something new. If the news was from hunter masters or senior hunters, the information that the scrolls contained would be extremely valuable. Experts like senior hunters would normally carry out the highest ranked quests, and they would discover the presence of soul seeds or demon beasts along the way. Even if they knew there was something valuable, they would not bother wasting their time on it, but it was a waste to simply hold on to the information. Therefore, it made more sense to write down the information on a secret tipping scroll, and sell it to others for some extra cash. Meanwhile, it would also benefit the lower-ranked hunters who were interested in the piece of information, resulting in a win-win situation. Therefore, the secret tipping scrolls were indeed quite meaningful. Why don't you go and buy a few of them? I'll have them give you a discount, offered Zhao Manyan. Since Mo Fan was also a hunter, instead of spending his time on the generic quests from the Hunter Union, he could try his luck through the secret tipping scrolls instead. All right, I'll buy a few. How much does one cost? Asked Mo Fan. The price varies. The expensive ones can go up to 10 million, while the cheap ones can go all the way down to a few thousand. Tell me your range, and I'll get a few for you, said Zhao Manyan. Let's try a few with a price around 10,000. Mo Fan was fairly rich for the time being, so he decided to try his luck. Not a problem. After all, the marketplace was one of the Zhao family's property, thus Zhao Manyan did have some special rights here. He quickly got a few secret tipping scrolls for Mo Fan. The secret tipping scrolls were quite elegant, since their target audience was magicians, who spend a lot of money on luxuries. After all, a commoner would prefer to spend a few tens of thousands on a branded bag, instead of a piece of information which was not guaranteed to be reliable. Open them up yourself. Zhao Manyan managed to get 3 secret tipping scrolls. All of them were light blue in color, while those that were more costly were silver and gold. The information provided by senior hunters was fairly reliable, so many people were willing to spend a huge sum of money on them. Mo Fan opened the scrolls and read the contents. A swordfin ocean demon has been spotted at Huangpu River. There is a higher chance to find it in April. Zhao Manyan stuck his head closer and burst out laughing. The swordfin ocean demon is an infamous kind of demon beast living in the oceans. Their sword fins are sold with insane prices in the market. The sword fins are an important material to further improve the power of Deathstrike magic equipment. The problem is, can we actually find it in Huangpu River? I thought most of them were residing somewhere deep in the Pacific Ocean. Fishing? I'm not interested at all. Sigh, what a waste of money, said Mo Fan pitifully. It's fine, we still have 2 more, said Zhao Manyan. Mo Fan nodded and opened another secret tipping scroll, and subconsciously read it out. North Burning Valley, there are signs of a new flame bell being born. Damn, this is a valuable piece of information. Zhao Manyan screamed before Mo Fan could react. How is that? Asked Mo Fan. The North Burning Valley is a very famous fire element region in our country, which is very close to Dunhuang. There, you can find a famous demon beast, a creature that is born with the fire of nature, an elemental beast. The flame bell is considered the rarest among all elemental beasts. Its value is priceless on the market. However, if anyone were selling a flame bell's youngling at an auction, I bet that every famous renowned clan in Shanghai would attend it, said Zhao Manyan with excitement. That's serious? Asked Mo Fan in shock. Sigh, are you illiterate? Well, it's hard to tell if the information is reliable or not, said Zhao Manyan. That's my secret tipping scroll. What are you being so excited for? Said Mo Fan unpleasantly. Fuck me, are you seriously unaware of how special a demon beast like the flame bell is? Its strength is more than a few times stronger than that of an ordinary beast. The elemental beasts have been the dream contracted beasts for summoners, and this flame bell is one of the best elemental beasts you could ever find. Simply speaking, if you manage to get a flame bell as your contracted beast, you're going to be famous. You can easily get into the top 10 with the flame bell, said Zhao Manyan. Mo Fan could tell that this flame bell was indeed very powerful, judging from Zhao Manyan's reaction. The problem was, how did he know if the piece of information was reliable? Don't tell him that he had to pay a visit to the area around Dunhuang City? I'm quite interested in this flame bell. Do you have any way to obtain more information about it? Mo Fan asked quickly. Mo Fan had heard of elemental beasts before. If a summoner could sign a contract with an elemental beast, they would obtain a boost for the respective element too. For example, since Mo Fan's primary element was fire, if he managed to get a flame bell as his contracted beast, his fire element would either become stronger or have some special burning effect. Simple, spending lots of money. There are filtered secret tipping scrolls that you can get, which are more expensive than the normal ones. If you bought all the ones related to the valley close to Dunhuang City, and if many of the tips are correlated to one another, the pieces of information might be stating the truth, said Zhao Manyan. How much money would I be spending? This is only to get the information, said Mo Fan speechlessly. It's basically gambling. If you think the information is right, you should not just buy more of them. Instead, you should buy all of them. Once you've proven that it's real, you will have fewer competitors compared to the quests that were submitted to the Hunter Union. All you have to worry about is how you're going to get it. In my opinion, this flame bell is perfect to be your contracted beast, since your rose flame is already extremely violent among the flames, and with the boost from your contract with the flame bell, your flame is going to be insane, pretty much unmatchable among flames that aren't soul graded. As a matter of fact, Mo Fan was fairly intrigued. Many students in the school had fire soul seeds, thus his rose flame alone no longer granted him an edge. If he could further improve his fire element with a contracted beast, it would be the perfect outcome.